My name is Tessa Gray. Let me tell you a story. There was a girl who loved a boy who was dying. She was torn by her love for another whose heart would die with him. Above all, the girl wanted to know who she was. The only man that could tell her was her worst enemy. If you could save the ones you love by damning the world, would you? I would. The clock is ticking. Everyone must choose.
Cassandra Clare is one of the hottest names in teen literature today. In March 2013, hundreds of fans flocked to Mission Viejo to ask Cassandra their questions about her captivating urban fantasy series, The Mortal Instruments. These books tell the story of shadow hunters, mysterious figures who battle demons with a rich history spanning from Victorian London to present-day Manhattan. Her books will come to life on the big screen when The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones hits movie theaters nationwide in summer 2013.
Hey guys, I'm here with Cassandra Clare, one of my absolute favorite authors in the whole world, and I have a couple questions to ask for her. I discovered your books 3 years ago during a really terrible time. It was really, really horrible, and they really just changed my life. So, I mean, what does that feel like when you hear that from people? Because I know I'm not the only person to tell you that. Like, what does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's like the best thing you can hear. Because, I mean, the same thing happened for me when I was younger, and actually at several junctions in my life when things have been going badly or, you know, it's been a dark time. I've turned to books, and I think it was C.S. Lewis who said, you know, we read to know that we are not alone. And so I would find books, and, you know, in the books I would find the mirror of my own experience, and it would be a big comfort. And so the idea that I could provide that to somebody else is like the ultimate compliment that you could get.
I love your books. They're so good. I'm a writer myself. I'm trying to write right now. I've sent my books out to like 1 million people. So like, what would your advice be to someone who's maybe discouraged or is trying to write, but they feel like they can't write or they can't do what you do?
Well, I mean, my first advice is always finish what you start, because if you start, and most people are really capable of starting a book. I read a statistic once that like 75% of people feel like they have a book that they want to write. But then the amount of people who would actually start the book is even less, and the amount of people who finish a book is tiny, because it's a really hard work. Like, you have to push yourself through the boring parts and the difficult parts and the emotionally painful parts. And so first, finish. Then, you know, my advice after that is have somebody else read it, you know, get some feedback and, you know, incorporate that into the editing, and then go out and understand that you will experience rejection, because we all do. You know, my City of Bones was turned down by 4 publishers before I found a publisher for it. I remember, you know, we all know that Harry Potter was turned down by like 10 or 12 publishers. And, you know, it has to find the right home. So you have to kind of brace yourself for that and know that, you know, if you've written a good book, and I believe that you have, then it will find the right home.
Awesome. And I know that you have The Dark Artifices coming out too, but do you have anything planned after that? Like, you know, or are you just kind of focusing on that right now?
Well, I have a ton on my plate at the moment. I'm finishing City of Heavenly Fire, which is the last in the Mortal Instruments series. I have The Dark Artifices, which takes place 5 years after that. I'm really excited to write the book that would come after the Infernal Devices series and deal with the next generation. That would be sort of the Edwardian period, like a little bit after the Victorian era, like Downton Abbey, which I love. So I'm really excited about that. And then I also have a series called The Magisterium Chronicles, which I'm writing with my best friend Holly Black. And that is a completely different magic system based on elemental magic. So I have a ton of stuff going on. I'm excited about all of it, but I often wish that I had a rune that was extra hours in the day. I would be so happy.
Well, I just want to say thank you. 1, for doing this, and 2, just for being such a great writer and inspiring me, and also, you know, your books just really help me a lot. You know, they do so much for me.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.
I feel like we're in the UN. Yeah. We're here to talk about some kind of peace negotiations.
Ooh, and this is like a fancy...
Oh, we've got screens with fancy stuff on them?
True. Wow. Can we hit stuff? Tessa, request to speak.
Okay, oh no, my thing is counting down. It's counting down. Timers are bad.
Yep,
we should all evacuate the building.
I set a timer. I did that.
So, hi, I'm Cassie. This is Maureen and Sarah. How are you?
Thank you so much for waiting. We're so sorry. I didn't understand what LA traffic was, but now
we know.
We got stuck in traffic. We were loitering in our hotel because our hotel is like in a super fancy part of LA. So as we wandered through the lobby, we saw Max Irons. We became distracted. And they were unable to corral us onto the bus. So we apologize in advance. And so we usually show the movie trailer, but we understand you guys have been watching it since we were not here. So I think we're going to just go straight into talking with you and seeing if you have any questions. My beautiful companions, Maureen and Sarah, have prizes to give out for anyone who has a question. Our only rule, because we've been snookered before, is you can't raise your hand if you just want a prize, but you don't actually have a question.
We're watching you.
Yeah, we got our eyes on you. So if you have a question for any of us about our books, or if you have a question about the movie, or anything, go for it. Okay.
And who? I'm going to set the timer again.
What? Oh, sorry. Right. How many of you have read Clockwork Princess?
So you already know they all die at the end.
But then the aliens come down, Maureen, and they resuscitate everybody. So, okay, if you're going to be asking a spoilery question, try to either not spoil it or couch it carefully so that people who haven't read the book aren't spoiled. Okay.
Everybody seems to have this well in order, and usually I run out, but if people just run up, I will give them a prize.
Oh, you're going to hit someone in the face like you did last night.
Look, that girl still has sight in one eye.
It really did bounce off someone's face she's like, oh!
One eye's all you need.
All right. Okay, who has a really, really intense question they really want to answer?
Who is on fire with passionate question?
She is, with a pink sweater and white striped sweater. Yes, you.
Okay, all right. Ask the question and then come out.
I'm not going to read it. The last two characters that appear in the epilogue.
Okay.
Possibly see or hear mention of them in your next trilogy.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll hand you. Okay. Who would like the power of choosing?
All right, the power of choosing. Who has a terribly, terribly burningly important question?
And I'll put it on the
My
microphone now that
side.
it's working. So.
Who has the craziest eyes?
The one in the back in the turquoise is jumping up and down.
All right, wait for me to come to you with the microphone.
I know. I was just like, why are you making me run, Sarah? And I'm like, oh, I like to see other people suffer.
Thank you. It's good exercise. Okay.
Cassie, I've always wondered, where did you get the inspiration for your books?
Well, I got the inspiration for the idea of shadow hunters from a friend of mine who's a tattoo artist and was telling me about the history of tattoos and how people used to believe that they gave you protection in battle, kept you brave, and kept you from getting injured. And I started thinking about how cool it would be if there was really a race of people for whom these tattoos really worked and actually protected them. And that was really the development of the idea of shadow hunters. And then each sort of series of stories has kind of had its own separate genesis.
You know what? Does anyone have a question about Simon?
Oh, no. Don't get her started about Simon.
Why get her started about
one.
Simon?
You have a question about Simon? Come on, no questions about...
No, she doesn't. Stop bothering the audience, Maureen.
Seriously, you don't have questions about Simon?
I think we have a question about Simon.
I could have a question. I guess I could have a question about Simon.
You people disappoint me.
All right, let's hear.
Now you're
Shall we?
I'll run down and get
Okay, I have a question about Simon for you.
I'm stunned.
All right. So, is there any possibility that he could end up with some beautiful shadow hunter in marriage?
Well, Alec is getting over Magnus right now. But they have a very special moment in City of Heavenly Fire that I think no one is expecting.
Silac, I ship it.
That was a surprisingly well-received answer. I'm going to leave it at that. I know what you mean, though, and there's definitely more development with
I need to
them.
read that on the bus.
Okay, I'll let you read it on the bus. There's definitely more development with them, and they're a favorite couple of mine. So there's more stuff with them in City of Heavenly Fire.
How does it feel to know that you're influencing people everywhere?
Oh,
Like
it's
your
terrifying.
readers?
Oh, the question was how does it feel to know you're influencing people? It's terrifying. I think of myself as a very weird person, and so I worry that I'm influencing people with my strangeness. But by and large, I have found my readers to be really incredibly empathic, nice, generous people. Great with their feedback, and I love interacting with them and talking with them online. I always feel like it's kind of a group experience when a book comes out. I have the trauma of worrying about how people are going to take it, and other people have the trauma of actually reading it. So we come together to help each other.
Okay, it's my turn. How do I feel about influencing everyone? I mean, pretty bad with all the crime. I'm sorry, it's my turn to pick somebody. Right. I got it. Okay, who has a weird question? I'd like to hear something strange.
Oh, come on, own it.
Hey, that girl in the stripy top is jumping up and down.
All right, then
she's got a weird question.
To you.
It looks super weird to me. I'm excited
Seriously,
for it.
we would like this to be freaky.
My question is it possible for a warlock to be like not only just a warlock, but also half werewolf or vampire?
Would that be a werelock? Yes.
She's into it. No, it's not. I started pondering like if a warlock was like bitten by a vampire or whatever. No, they can't. They are too demony themselves to contract the demon diseases that cause werewolfism and vampirism. You can't really be a werelock, or you can't be a werepire, and you can't be a warpire, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not against it in general. I enjoy many books in which there are werepires, and Sarah tells me that they exist in the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, they do.
I'm very excited about hearing about that. But I thought it was probably a good idea to kind of try to keep the the branches of Downworlders pretty separate, because otherwise I felt like it would become incredibly politically complicated. So warlocks are warlocks.
You're making a terrible mistake. Werepires are hot.
What first got you interested in writing?
What got me interested in writing? I used to. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what got you interested in writing?
Lack of other skills.
Yeah, I don't really good at anything else either.
Kind of an indoor kid, easy bleeder kind.
Oh,
indoor
yeah.
recess.
Yeah, we used to play touch football at my school.
And you're like, oh, I gotta paint him.
I think I got into writing when I was like 11, and Jesse Wegman broke my arm during touch football.
What?
Yeah, he was really big.
But American football is a Nancy sport.
American football is a game of everybody throwing themselves on top of each other until they kill the person at the bottom of the pile. I don't think you know how it works, Sarah.
They're wearing helmets. Helmets are for wusses.
I wasn't wearing a helmet. I was only 11. I don't know. I was always interested in telling stories, but I had really terrible handwriting, and I couldn't actually read what I wrote. So it was very confusing to me when I would start again the next night and not know what happened before. And then my dad gave me a computer when I was 12, and that got me interested in writing, because I was like, now I can read the stuff that I wrote before. I went back and read it again recently, too, and it was really bad. It was really exciting. I was like, this is so terrible. It's awesome.
All right, Maureen? All right. Who has? Well, I've asked about Simon.
Don't ask about Simon again.
I'm just saying, if you have a question about Simon, I will like you more. Oh, what is with you people? Why don't you respect him? He's a vampire.
They have diverse interests.
I think we have a Simon question over here, maybe?
Well, okay, then yes.
Wait, which one? Okay. Everyone really wants Maureen to like them. I think it was over
all right.
here.
Maureen scary.
How about right here? Right. Oh, okay. No, then here maybe.
She just went up the burning question.
Oh, can I ask? Oh, it's not. It could be about Simon, but it's for.
I like that.
Playing this
it's a technicality.
It's for all three of you. Which of Cassie's characters would you guys each say you guys are all like most like?
Him. Well, maybe we should identify each other because which one is Cassie most like? Oh. Well, Cassie is. Maybe we can end there. Maybe we have to think about that.
All right, you guys think about that.
I have an answer.
I think the Maureen is obvious because I wrote Maureen into the City of Heavenly Fire, City books. I wrote Maureen into City of Fallen Angels as a character named Maureen because Maureen was always pestering me about Simon, and so finally. I cracked and wrote her as Simon's number one fan. So
fandom pays off.
Yeah, the lesson is pestering pays off. If you want to be written as a totally psycho, crazy, bonkers character, which Maureen is, and I enjoy writing her greatly. So Maureen is the most like Maureen. What do we got? What about Sarah?
Like this. Staring at me, guys.
I think she's a little Magnus-y.
Yeah. Sarah's like, I get all the hot guys. It's so great.
Right. Magnus can't be tied down.
I think Sarah is a little Magnus-y. I believe that it was our discussions about Magnus, the three of us actually, and Sarah had many Magnus feels that caused us to want to write the Bane Chronicles. So I will give Sarah Magnus.
Aww.
Yeah, I have to pick from you.
I'm just personally, I relate. Aside from Maureen, I relate to Alec because I'm a lot like this is a terrible idea.
I need to leave. Just be a little bit further away from Maureen. I'm gonna come sit in the audience.
Why?
Breaking up with Maureen because
I'm sorry. Because she lied to me and consorted with vampires.
It's very sad. But
Alec is very like this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's what I like about Alec. He's always like, why do we have such bad ideas? Why do I have to do this?
I like that.
I don't know about me.
Okay,
I think that Cassie is like my favorite character. I think she's like Sebastian.
That's so evil.
No, but listen, I have proof. You know how Cassie likes for terrible things to happen and for people to be really upset? So does Sebastian. She likes to fictionally burn down the world every now and then.
No, I have another answer. What? I think Jace. And here's why. You've been watching that trailer 500 times now, right? And you know that scene with all the crap coming at them? And Jason, they're like, everyone's like, there's too many of them. And Jason's like, have a little faith. I feel like that's what Cassie is like when she's working on something, because she's got like all these books going on, and you're like, and all these ideas, and the books are like as big as your face, and we're always like, Cassie, she's like, have a little faith.
So it does work well.
That's a beautiful answer. I love Maureen now, but I hate Sarah.
I love Sebastian. You know how I feel about Sebastian.
Gray sweater?
Okay, wait for the mic.
No, blonde.
With an owl on it, too. Very cute.
Is there a possibility of Simon getting his own series?
There's a question. Now that's the kind of question I've been waiting for. Why can't you all
have
be
to marry
modeling?
Maureen?
Yeah.
I'm scared to answer that question.
I can help you.
I don't think it's very likely that Simon's going to get his own series. I'm really excited about the Dark Artifices and writing that right now. And, them who survive the mortal instruments, we will see them in the Dark Artifices. So that could well be Simon, who might survive if Maureen leaves me alone. And then I also have a frightening feeling that someone is looking at me. I don't know. Do you ever have that weird feeling that someone's looking at you, but you're not like totally sure? I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. It's very peculiar. But then I also have an idea for, I don't want to spoil anything from Clockwork Princess, but for the next generation of Shadowhunters that come after the kids in Clockwork Princess. So I would really like to do that.
Wait till you hear about James and Matthew.
That's true.
Oh, whatever.
You might love them. You don't know. They could be exactly like Simon. Maybe he gets reincarnated. Maybe he gets reincarnated as like a gopher. And I will write a beautiful picture book about his adventures. Simon the Vampire Gopher.
Yeah, I guess I'd read it.
Okay. Good with
So Maureen would read Simon the Vampire Gopher. I don't know if I would, Kelsey. I love you.
I would
though.
read it.
He'd wear great T-shirts.
I heard it right here.
Roll right. That girl. All right. Girl right there.
I appreciated her moxie.
Come on, it has to be A Tale of Two Cities.
I think it's A Tale of Two Cities. I mean, when Sarah's going to do something totally bizarre now, isn't she? Oh no, you have a present. When we were discussing the cover of the book, Tessa is the only one who's been on the cover of a book who is not a shadow hunter and doesn't have any runes. And so we were talking about, how to make her seem magical, so it didn't just look like a picture of a girl standing in front of St. Paul's. And I said, well, Tessa, her power is shape-shifting. That's not something you can really represent. But I was like, the real. I think one of the themes of the series is that this magic comes from reading and comes from fiction. I'd love to see her with a book in her hands and light coming out of the book, and just did a really beautiful job illustrating it. I love it. So it could be, the Codex, the Shadowhunters Codex, but I like to think it's A Tale of Two Cities.
Or it could be like a phone book.
I don't think they had those in 1978 because there were no phones. I mean, it was a very short book. It was just like,
one phone. It
was just like to be filled in later. Yeah. I will let Sarah pick next.
Oh, okay, I get to pick again. All right, you in the red jacket who was jumping up and down. I saw you. Don't think I didn't. I'm coming. Red. Allison.
I just throw it. Just throw it. Go long.
Just throw it. Just throw. I'm taking the basket.
Go ahead and ask.
Which series did you enjoy writing more, Mortal Instruments or Infernal Devices?
I love writing them both. They're just completely different. Like, I loved all the research that went into Infernal Devices. I love the language of that era and writing these sort of very beautiful speeches, that people could give. And I loved all the, the feeling of that time period and that era. But then, like Mortal Instruments was my first series. I have a deep love for those characters, and they feel like part of my family. So I'm always excited to kind of go back and spend more time with them. And it'd be very traumatic to kind of finish City of Heavenly Fire and be done. I know.
Just let a morning sound.
All right. Especially
right. Maureen has come to find somebody from the crowd. She's got a look in her eye that I don't enjoy.
She looks like, she's planning to bite somebody. Oh, wow, that is a very specific question. So the question is, when will interrupt the Tessa and Jem's first meeting in Clockwork Angel? Why is his hair really, really wet?
I have a theory.
Okay.
Okay. So what if he was just walking through the house and he said an insulting thing to Sophie and she upended a vase of flowers on his head? That's the reason he could be wet. Alternately, what if he offended a gentleman on the street and that gentleman pitched him directly into the River Thames? Alternately, what if he walked under one of those people whom, you see, a thing that they used to do before they had proper sanitation was you would empty a chamber pot out into the street.
See, I don't think that's very likely because I believe that Tessa comments that he smells pleasant afterwards. Yes, because Okay, the reason he's wet is he has this whole story about how he went out to and got in a bar fight, and he got pickpocketed, and he tried to hit on some ladies, and somebody threw some gin at him. So he just dumped some water on, I mean, it's not that exciting. He dumped some water on himself to add some verisimilitude to his stupid story. And also, I think Will just kind of likes to be wet. I noticed he's like wet in every book. He's always like, I'm so wet. I think he thinks he looks very dapper that way. So.
I think that Englishmen are like biscuits. You dunk them.
Preferably in tea. All right. I don't. Maureen, you have to choose.
You have to choose. Ooh.
It's different. It's definitely different. And it's tough to pick because I feel like I know them all, and it's like, being like, it's like picking amongst your friends, and they're all such great people. Gosh, I think there's that, I guess I will just go through them. I think Jonathan, whose Valentine is the most intense, like he's super intense, method acting in a way that's kind of really exciting to be around. Aiden Turner is the nicest person in the whole world. He's so nice. He's super hot. And you're like, hey, wow, you're really hot. And he's like, I'm also unbelievably nice. He's so nice that I would find myself talking to him about super boring stuff like Irish tax laws for an hour. And then I'd be like, my God, you must be catastrophically bored. I can't believe you haven't left. And he's like, no, it's fascinating. Jared is super, super, super smart and intelligent. And he has awesome stories because his father is Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies. And knew every famous British actor of the past 50 years, so he has all these great stories. Lily and Jamie are adorable. They're so perfect. They're so perfect as Clary and Jace. Their personalities just match up so amazingly. That it was always a pleasure to spend time with them. Kevin is super gossipy, so I liked hanging out with him. We would bitch about people, but I won't repeat any of it. Jemima is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly nice. She's so nice that it's unbelievable, and super charming. Robbie loves the ladies and was hardly ever there because he was always hanging around the edge of the set because we would have fans and stuff on set during filming, and he would kind of go over there and be like, hello, who likes me? That's right. But he was super, as soon as we needed him, he was super professional, would be right back and be amazing. And super funny. And Magnus Godfrey was only there for 3 days, but he is both incredibly nice and ridiculously hot. And super, super tall. So it was just so hot. So that's everybody, I think.
I'm glad he's playing me.
I'm so excited.
Woo!
I know. Okay, so should we make them cruelly run forward? Okay, if you already asked a question, then you have to put your hand down.
Oh, them's the rules.
I know, it's cruel, right?
We have another Simon question.
Woo! Maureen has been bribing people in that crowd.
The handsome young man that plays Simon, is he single?
Ooh!
That's Robbie Sheehan. I know of him because of Sarah. Sarah.
The Irish all know each other.
Sarah, yes, in Ireland everyone knows each other. She introduced me to a show called Misfits that he stars in. Yeah. And I was like, who is that guy who plays Nathan? He is amazing. And we were looking for a Simon, and I was like, this guy is so funny, and Simon is really funny, and he could really do it. I really, fought really hard for him, so I'm really glad he got cast, and he is, as far as I know, single, very single.
Watch out, ladies.
Okay. Okay.
Which one?
The black shirt. Yeah.
There are so many. Oh. let's retake
what was my
that.
favorite book to write? It's like picking favorite kids. It's impossible. Although I've been told that actually picking your favorite kids is not so hard, but I like to think it's difficult. Usually my favorite is whatever I'm working on at that moment because it's the most exciting to me. So City of Heavenly Fire right now. But before that, it was Clockwork Princess because that was the one I was working on. So, yeah. Okay.
And I'm following.
What inspired you to write about demons? Have you always been interested in that?
Yes, you have.
Oh no, this makes it sound like I'm a Satanist.
Yeah, Cassie, what's up with that?
Well, I mean, Satan asked me to, and you don't want to say no when Satan asks you to do something. I've just been really always fascinated by angel and demon mythology. I love Paradise Lost. I love Dante's Inferno. I love sort of the story of the war in heaven. And I hadn't really seen in urban fantasy. I'd seen a lot of like sort of folklore, lots of kind of fairies and vampires and warlocks and kind of that stuff. But mythology, like stories about gods and demons and angels and stuff, I hadn't seen as much of that in terms of interacting with, real daily life, and I thought it'd be really fun to kind of bring that in and kind of blend contemporary fantasy with it. And then I did try to summon some demons a couple of times, but nothing happened. Except then I met Maureen shortly afterwards. Very suspicious, now that I come to think about it. All right,
now the hands are really going up.
Running around at the back. Blue.
So, how do you come up with the inspiration for the runes?
They were designed by the artist who first showed me her tattoos and inspired the whole idea. Her name is Valerie Frere. She's a tattoo artist. And I asked her to do a set of 80. There are 80 runes, I think, that exist for the Grey Book, and I just kind of came up with, what would be useful: healing, strength, precision, courage, bravery, and so all of those exist, and then some more specialized ones, like the ones for marriage and love and death and mourning and stuff like that. I don't know, it was really fun. I mean, I did not design them visually, but I think she did a really great job. Okay, yeah.
Team Gem or Team Will?
I'm not on a team. I can't be on a team because, you can't root for a game if you know who wins. If you control it, then whatever team you want to win will win. But I love them both. I mean, I love Gem. I love Will. I love them in different ways. I love that they both love each other. And I love that, they're both such good people.
What are you guys, Shadowhunters, Mundies, Downworlders, what?
My readers call themselves Shadowhunters. I call them Shadowhunters. I'm like, hey, Shadowhunters, what's up? I want to call them Mundanes because I think of them as being
mundane,
extraordinary,
mundane.
Well, maybe Maureen's a mundane. No, I don't know. What are you? If you have to be something, if you're Shadowhunter, mundane, vampire, warlock.
I don't know. What am I? Maybe Sarah knows.
I would think that Maureen is a vampire. I read the books. She seems vampire-y to me.
I think Maureen is the queen of the vampires.
Yeah, that's how I imagine her.
She pulls all the strings from behind the curtains. And if I had to be something...
Okay, wait.
And I didn't want to say anything, but she drank my blood a little bit a couple days back.
Wow, what's that? Oh, something's going on over there.
It says pick me.
Okay, that's a presentation. I think we should pick her. That's quite a presentation.
Hi, first of all, I just want to tell you that you're really an inspiration to people who enjoy writing and reading really well. So, thank you for writing the series. My question is, I saw actually on the internet that with the conceptualization and actually trying to realize the series, you ran into roadblocks and troubles and stuff. So, what would be your advice to aspiring writers and people who are just, facing those kind of difficulties and realizing their dreams?
God, it's incredibly hard to, realize your dreams because I think that when we have a goal, mine was to be a writer, it just seems so far away and you think, how could I possibly get there? But you need to remember, it's a series of steps. And each step is small, and it'll get you closer to your goal. If you mean in terms of like writer's block, then my friends are invaluable to me in helping me get out of writer's block. Have you guys seen House? Yeah. All right, so if I have writer's block, then I try to call together a team of hot doctors, but then nothing happens because I don't actually know any hot doctors. I mean, not that doctors aren't hot, I just don't know that many doctors. But, so I'm like, okay, well, that's not gonna work. But I will call together my friends, and we will sit in a room, and I will yell at them like House. And then I will be like, okay, so I've got this problem, and here's all the symptoms of the problem that I have, and I'll, kind of write them on a board. And be like, I'm stuck at this part in my book. Who has suggestions? And then, like House's team, they will all yell things like,
lupus! Definitely lupus! Or
and then I'm like, it's
more
lupus.
Simon!
Yes. And Maureen will be like, more Simon. And
take his shirt off.
Sarah will be like, lupus!
And I'll be like, kill so-and-so.
Yeah,
yes.
That's true. She always wants me to kill somebody. But eventually, productivity ensues, and I believe that writer's block is a symptom, not a disease. It's a symptom that you went the wrong direction somewhere with your writing, and so my friends usually help me diagnose where I made a wrong turn, and I can get back on the road.
I'm going to go down and take a couple more questions, and then we're going to go into lightning round.
Lightning round.
You'll see.
Who is vibrating with a exciting question?
From the Mortal Instruments series, who would be your best friend?
Aww.
Simon. I hate making Maureen happy. No, I don't. I like making Maureen happy. Simon's actually based largely on my best friend, so he has a lot of my best friend qualities, like I thought, what would be the ideal best friend? What are the qualities I'm looking for? So Simon, he's funny, he's loyal, he's always there for Clary, he'd be great. He's a great best friend, so.
He is.
Well, he's hot, but I didn't want to mention that because my actual best friend might be really creeped out.
Hi.
Not that she's not hot.
Hi. I was wondering, in City of Heavenly Fire, will we find out who Magnus's demon father is?
Yes, it's been hinted at strongly that Magnus's demon father is somehow significant to the overall plot line, and he is significant to the overall plot line. So we will meet him, sort of.
Question before lightning round.
Well, the last question before lightning round, so you'll still get to ask.
How did Will form his strong opinions about ducks?
How did Will form a strong opinion about ducks?
Yeah.
Well, there's a story on my website called Why Will Hates Ducks. So if you go on my website and read it, you will find out that Will, in fact, was stalked by a duck when he was 8. And he's never really gotten over it. And the actual reason that I hate ducks personally and have brought forward my cruel anti-duck views into my books is that Sarah and I were in London as when I was first researching the infernal devices, and we decided to take a beauteous walk in Hyde Park, right at the Thames, in fact, exactly where Will and Jem were when they were feeding pies to the ducks. And we had bought some pies at Harrods, and we started feeding them to the ducks. And then Sarah said, "You realize these are duck pies. We're feeding ducks to ducks." And I was like, oh, this is terrible. You're right. It seems morally wrong in a weird way that I can't put my finger on.
The ducks loved it.
The ducks, however, were ravenous. That was like, oh my God, we've created cannibal ducks. The ducks wanted more duck. All they wanted was more duck, but we didn't want to give them the duck because we thought it was morally wrong. So we were like, ducks, back off. And the ducks were like, there's no way, we're not backing off. We're going to chase you. So we were chased through the park by angry ducks. And after that, I took against ducks. And so I have, represented them very badly in literature. But that's what they get. Okay, we're going to do lightning round, which means you ask us questions, anything you want, and we answer as fast as possible. So sometimes the answers make sense and sometimes they don't. Go. Yeah, go.
Real quick.
Do you think
Yes.
there's any hope for Sebastian?
I think there's lots of hope for Sebastian. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
What was the most inspirational book that you've ever read?
Lord of the Rings. Black shirt, right here. Sometimes I feel like if I go away and don't pay attention to what they're doing, they do weird things in my absence. And I'm like, what are you doing? I see that. All right.
What's your favorite anime?
What's your favorite? Full Metal Alchemist.
Let's go. Jason Simon, right?
Alec and Magnus. Sorry.
How does Tessa's Clockwork Angel wind up in the New York Institute?
Well, if you read Clockwork Princess, you know what happens to the necklace, so you can kind of intuit how it might have ended up in the Institute. But as a spoiler, sorry.
How did you choose what Simon turned into?
How did you what?
What's Simon turned into?
Oh, I always wanted to write a Jewish vampire.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it. Yeah.
LGBT in, and why did you break them up? Can we put them back together?
Oh.
I love Alec and Magnus, and I think that I love lots of things about their relationship, but I didn't want to write the relationship as too perfect. Everybody else in the books has, relationships that have problems. They have troubles. They have, stuff that goes wrong. And I feel like, there are ways to denormalize writing an LGBT relationship, and one of the ways is to make it too perfect. They're always happy, everything's great, it's perfect. They're not relatable, and I wanted to be like, this is a relationship, it's a real relationship, and it's really, for Magnus, one of the most important relationships he's had in hundreds of years. And so the fact that it is so important to him actually really scares him, and that's part of why they did break up. But there is a whole other book to come, so don't worry. I mean, in the sense, I'm not saying whether they'll get back together, but in the sense that
they'll never ever get back together.
Storyline is definitely not over.
Do you?
Joe, do I like killing ships? What is the point of a ship if not to sink it? All right.
That's why people love scuba diving. That's true.
Right. Yes?
Tessa versus Clary.
I've loved them both. Tessa is much more like me, but I really admire Clary for how brave and reckless she is. She is much more of a risk taker than I am. And you are waving your hand back and forth like this. Yes.
Woo.
Do you actually eat, or do you survive solely on the tears and pain?
I like to take the hearts of my readers and freeze them, and then melt them, and then I put it in a cocktail glass, and I call it a heartini. All right. All the way in the back, do something weird with your hands. So, what? They're still together. They just keep renaming themselves. I mean, they're practicing Infinity of Fallen Angels. They're a crappy band, but they're still together. I don't know why they keep trying, but they have actually Jordan's a pretty good lead singer, so this may give them a new lease on life. Okay, yep, with the waving thing. Semi-involved. I mean, there's only so much involvement you can have. They usually are don't want to hear from the writer at all, so they've actually given me a pretty good amount of input. Definitely asked me questions and wanted to know things about the world and been curious, and definitely I was involved in the casting, so, I was definitely not the last word on anything that happened, and I haven't even seen the movie. I couldn't tell you how it ends. I don't know, but I did appreciate the amount of input that they did give me. Okay, white shirt. I think probably in a lot of ways Jem, because the fact that I had to teach myself. I knew a good amount about the Victorian era, which is why I wanted to write Victorian era books, but I didn't know that much about Victorian era Shanghai and China, and so I did a huge amount of research into what was it like living in Shanghai in 1878, and what was the relationship between China and England, and what would it have been like only a tiny amount of it made it into the book, but it was literally months of research and pictures and communicating with people who were experts to kind of try to build him, and learning some Mandarin to try to build him a realistic backstory. So, I love Jem, and it was worth it, but it was a lot of work. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. At the end of my book, Unspoken, this is actually Cassie related because when Cassie wrote Clockwork Prince, Cassie and I and Holly were at a party, and we were looking at reader reactions online because that's what we do at parties, baby. We can't be tamed.
Yeah, we're wild.
And I was like, this is amazing. Look at it. It's like you took their hearts. If their hearts were made of cornflakes, you jumped up and down in them. Suddenly there are cornflakes all over the room.
I don't know why Sarah was so happy about that. I was like, oh my God, everybody's so upset. This is terrible. I had no idea they would be so upset. And
It's
Sarah was
awesome.
like, bah, this is great. Look how upset they are. And I was like, oh God, no, I have to like comfort them. And she was like, are you crazy? Get down there. Stop it. No comforting.
It's like, you drink that Heartini. You enjoyed it. That's when we invented the term Heartini. Holly Black was like, you did this. You took their hearts. You put them in the glass. Now you drink it.
Holly was a little drunk.
And so I was like, wow, I have this idea in my head. I think it might be quite saddening. I wrote it, and then I gave it to Cassie, and I was like, is this end sad? And she was like, it could be sadder. And I was like, tell me how. So actually, it was going to be a little bit less sad, but Cassie made it worse.
I can't believe this. I can't believe you blame me. I love the ending of Unspoken. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you so much for asking me. It was very kind.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. I can't choose between
How
two.
about
So,
right
so
there in the
you and also dark blue shirt.
Okay.
Really?
Oh. Team Mike Newton.
Edward. Sorry. I like a vampire.
Oh.
Okay. And yeah. Last time I heard yes. So here's hoping. I don't know who's gonna, who all they're gonna be able to get from the cast, to be on it, but super exciting. I don't actually even know if they're gonna invite me, but hey, here's hoping. Start some kind of petition so I can get on the panel. But yes, last I heard they were definitely planning on doing some stuff at Comic-Con. Hopefully they'll show some footage, and we're gonna be at WonderCon next week, which you guys should totally come to because we will be debuting the theatrical trailer, which is like 3 minutes long, and I saw it. It's awesome. It's got great, some footage and great scenes. Some of my favorites from the book made it in there, and we'll be showing the poster too, which is actually really cool. So I hope you guys can come to WonderCon. I'll be there with Jamie and Lily and Kevin, who plays Alec, answering your questions. And thank you so much for coming.